Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 7th of February. The time is 10:23. I entered my trade, not particularly a great entry or a bad entry, around between 9:17 to 9:20. And the idea was that initially I thought I would just short the IV by taking a very wide 16,900 and 17,900 strangle. I changed that up immediately to 17,000 and 17,800. The idea being relatively straightforward, that there has been a fall off in short IV spreads. Like for example, 17,500 short straddle, it closed around 300 something on Friday. It's open at the opening. People would have been in a good profit of already 40 points. So at the open itself, they're up 2% on whoever has taken that trade. So there's no real panic for anyone to cover. The idea was that we will see a little bit of falling off in IV, and that did happen. But the thing is, the trade is very opportunistic. It's assuming that IV is high, from there it's coming down, it might continue to go down. My stop loss was this candle itself, this particular day's low of 17,420, because beyond that there is a very real threat that that fall off IV trend stops, and we see like short covering on the put options, which is why it's not very attractive. It's a Monday. It's not particularly a day that is supposed to work out very well for my way of trading either. So it was a quite aggressive trail, and actually since when I exited, the position has actually gained 1 point. So I exited around 9:58. You can see here I made a little bit of a blunder on the exit. I exited the puts first and then the calls. That ended up costing me. So yeah, so just this candle I exited around 23 on the puts. From there they blew up a little bit. We went to 28.5 and are now coming back down. Now I don't particularly find it very attractive to trade here, because there is always the threat of people who are still sitting in profit wherever they've carried overnight non-directional positions. They might feel compelled to cover at some point. So that being the case, in today's video, I'm going to cover something that I've been getting asked very frequently. How do you trade as a company, as a private limited company? Do you require an NBFC license? How do you do the entire setup? I'll explain it to the extent that I can. And I'll tell you what I do, how it stands. Is it a gray area, not a gray area? And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I will not get back in the comments. I'll make like another video in which I will get through that. So first of all, are you allowed to trade as a private limited company? Do you need an NBFC license? So the first answer is yes, you're very much allowed to trade as a private limited company, because F&O activity is not considered speculative activity. It is considered business operations. So it is a hedging position. For whatever reason, I find the reason to trade these contracts. It is for my hedging purpose. It's for my business purpose. Nobody can come and question that. So you're very much allowed to trade as a private limited company. Now, depending on which CA you ask and how well versed they are with this, you will get a different answer. But I will tell you, not just me, apart from myself, I know a good amount of people, at least that I know personally, that I've spoken to, 5+ people who trade in private limited company accounts, have been filing their returns over a prolonged period and have not had any problems with doing that. So that is one. Second, do you need an NBFC license? No, you do not need an NBFC license. Many people say, okay, definition is if 50% activity comes from financial activity, yada yada, then it has to have. But so far, no government body, every time I've been filing my returns, right, no government body has come back and said, why do you not have an NBFC license? Nobody's had a problem with it. So unless someone knows any particular case, please let me know. Okay. Now, secondly, how do you do it, right? Very simple. You go anywhere, you go to Google, you set up a private limited company. So the company I used was called Corp Base. You don't have to use these guys. They were okay. They'll be the same as anyone else. The only thing you need to consider is who's the cheapest, right? You go to any company, they'll say, okay, you want to set up a private limited company. They'll do your incorporation, the MOA, AOA, the DIN number that needs to be generated, GST registration, all of that they'll do. They have packages. Generally, these people have packages between, so companies like this, between 15 to 20,000, they'll do all the registrations that are required. Everything that the government requires, the PAN generation, TAN generation, all of that, they will take care of. The cost will be between 15 to 20,000. And after that, once you're done with that, you will now have a private limited company in which you can have two directors. You can have you and one of your family member, maybe your husband or wife. You can be 51-49%. And for the paid up capital, right, and this is what everyone does, I'm telling you stuff that other people wouldn't tell you so directly. Paid up capital, nobody does more than 1 lakh, 2 lakhs max. Paid up capital is the equity that is infused into a company. And when you infuse money in the form of equity, you can't just take it out. It has to be given back in the form of dividend, for which there'll be tax. So if I want to, let's say, trade with 1 crore capital, first of all, I'm not going to get into details of should you open a company account or not. That you should figure out whether it's required in your tax bracket for you to do all this jugaad, because this is not a very easy process, and also there is a cost of compliance here. So there will be some additional costs you'll incur. Unless you're making 1 crore of profit per annum, I wouldn't even consider opening up a company account. Okay, so once you have your company incorporated, you've done all that, the capital infusion that you will do in the form of debt. So what you will do, from my account, who is a director, if I want 1 crore trading capital, I will transfer that to the company account. So it is 1 crore of debt that is given by me to the company. So tomorrow, if I want to take out that 1 crore, I can do that in the form of return of loan. But most of the time, you don't want to take out money, and I'll get into that. So once you have done all the incorporation, done all the legal requirements, you will have to then get a company secretary. That can cost you between 10,000 to 15,000 per annum, and a chartered accountant, a CA, you'll have to get. That also varies depending on what all you're getting the CA to do. These two people you will have to get. Then you open a current account. As soon as you get registered, automatically you'll start getting phone calls. You can decide you want to open with, I use HDFC Bank because they are one of the easier banks to work with. You open a current account, and then you can transfer. Now all the capital that you want to infuse, you're going to transfer in the form of debt given to the company by the director. And then you will have to look at opening a corporate trading account. There is, I kid you not, this big a stack of papers that will have to be filled. Your CA will have to give you a net worth certificate for the directors. There are, I don't even know how many, I think like 25 plus forms, because it's, when you open a personal in your personal name, you open a trading account, it's very straightforward. Here there is a whole bunch of paperwork. It takes almost a week, 10 days to get all that done. You'll have to have board resolutions, so on and so forth, in order to open that account. And you will be taking on personal liability as a director in case the company is not able to is taking some trades, is not able to pay back. In your personal capacity, you'll have to pay. So once you do that, you'll have an account, transfer your money, start trading. Now you will have to do all the filings. You will have to start quarterly paying advance tax, the same way you do in your personal account. You'll have to do that. Your CA will tell you on what to do, and my personal recommendation would be, even if you pay a little bit more for a CA, get somebody who can take care of all of that, and you don't really have to break ahead. They'll have a higher fee, but it's worth it. Secondly, what are the real advantages of this? To be very frank with you, you can show immense expense. Now, I'll tell you something which probably nobody else will. Now, from my company account, not only do I show expense for every spend that I make, almost literally anything that comes with a bill, it can be an expense for the company. Anything. Even if you go out to a restaurant and eat, comes with a bill. Director has made an expense for director travel, director food, director uniform, whatever you want. You buy a car, you show that as depreciation. I'll tell you something else as well. So my wife runs a boutique, and what ends up happening is we hire a lot of tailors. Now I can pay the tailor salary from my company account, saying that they are my employees. Now who will question that? All of this is fine as long as you and your wife or you and your husband are the only directors in the company. It is highly unethical to do any of this if you guys, it's not only your money that is in there. If you have external investors, other people have given you money, you can't be doing all this. The reason I can do this is because it's my money. Now tomorrow, let's say somebody comes and questions, say, why are you employing these tailors, what are they doing in your company? I'll say, I've employed them and I'm providing a service to somebody. She's paying me 1 rupee for my service annually. Who can question that? Nobody can question that. Nobody's going to question that also. People who sit and are worried about all kinds of other things, you don't have to be. So basically the summarization is that this is how you open a company account. This is how you get started with setting up a bank account, how you open a corporate trading account, and after that you continue to do your business and you can file your income tax. Whatever is your net profit after all your charges, into that you will show a tremendous amount of expense. wherein you will, as much as possible, you'll try to spend all your you'll never spend. When you have a company, you will try not to spend from your personal account. First of all, you shouldn't take a salary, because if you take a salary, you will be taxed on that as well, right? So this way you can sort of optimize tax. If you want more details, you can reach out to different chartered accountants. Many people asked me for my chartered accountant's number and started sharing it with a lot of people initially. But then he started getting very annoyed, because he started getting a ton of calls, which is a waste of his time, to be very honest, because most people who call him are not going to pay him anything. So find your own chartered accountants who are a little bit aware of this, and they'll help you out. Okay, something I missed is I forgot to say what kind of company you'll be setting up. Okay, so you will not set up any company that says it's doing any trading activity or anything like that. Inside, you will talk about business consulting, you will talk about financial consulting, you can talk about whatever. So the object of the company can be basically anything. You can state whatever, and you would think that, okay, how is this? Do you have to set it up as a trading company only? You don't have to. Nobody stops you from opening an account if your object stated is not dealing in financial activity. And everyone, every big trader that you know on YouTube who's using a company account is setting up a consulting company only, and you doing trading in it. There is nobody who has set up a trading company, at least all the YouTube guys, because nobody wants to go through all that. They all set up consulting companies and do trading in consulting companies. So this is a part that I missed out. And yeah, apart from that, let me know if you have any more doubts. I'll cover it in another way. I hope this was useful to you guys. Yeah, take care. Have a good one. I'll catch you at the next one.